Hello, welcome to Ratio. We are here to improve our skills in the legal reasoning section of the exam CLAT. The way to do the way to improve legal reasoning skills is to look at past year papers and try and solve their questions. Today we have in front of us a passage from CLAT 2020, which is based on obscenity. The way in which we will read this passage is to skim the passage quickly, notice what information is where, and then go to the questions. If necessary, we will come back to the passage. Otherwise, we will try to solve the questions using the basic ideas that we gathered while skimming the passage. So the first passage says that, look, we have to figure out what are the standards of obscenity. The second passage says that there is one standard called the Hicklin standard, and this standard says that we need to test whether the tendency of the matter charged as obscenity is to deprave and corrupt those whose minds are open to such immoral influences and into whose hands a publication of this sort may fall. So what is this saying? This is saying that it has to be judged, obscenity has to be judged based on isolated passages considered out of context and judged by their apparent influence on most susceptible readers, such as children or weak-minded adults. So we know for Hicklin test, we need to look at things out of context, and we need to look at if they would deprave or corrupt the minds of children or those with susceptible minds. That is the Hicklin test. Then in this paragraph, they are talking about another test called the community standards test. The community standards test says that we look at contemporary social mores, current social moral attitude of the community, and prevalent norms of acceptability and susceptibility of the community in relation to matters in issue. So this Hicklin test has been rejected by most of the jurisdictions. And there were many judgments where it was stipulated by the Indian courts also that the Hicklin test is not to be followed. So these judgments say that what is the meaning of obscene can change with time, and what was obscene earlier may become not obscene later. This is known as the community standards test. Now in this case, Bobby Art, it was held that we need to look at the complete message and the context of the objectionable material in order to find if the material is obscene. So if you remember, in Hicklin test, we look at whether something depraves or corrupts the mind, and second, we look at things out of context. In the community standards test, we look at current community standards. Community standards can change over time. And fourth, we look at things in context. We do not look at things outside of context. So just by skimming the passage, we will have in our minds these four things. So let's look at this question. There is a newspaper. In the newspaper, there is a picture of Boris Becker. He's a world-renowned tennis player who was posing nude. So he was posing nude with his dark-skinned fiancée Barbara Feltus, a film actress, and the photographer was her father. There is an article, and in the article they are talking about how they are against apartheid. Further, it was stated that love champions over hatred. So the question is, will this alleged material classify as obscene in India? So immediately your mind should go to which test will we apply. If we apply the Hicklin test, then there are two people who are nude. Nudity can deprave the mind of children. Therefore, by Hicklin test, it would be corrupt. By the community standards test, you look at the context. If you look at the context, they are talking against racism. They are talking against apartheid. The picture was taken by her father. So according to the community standards test, it would not be obscene. Keeping that in mind, let's look at the options. So it says no, according to Hicklin test, it will not classify as obscene. This is wrong. Yes, according to community standards test, the picture will classify as obscene. This is also wrong. Third, no, according to community standards test, the picture will not classify as obscene. This is correct. Because you look at the context is that they are speaking against apartheid. So that picture is a symbol against apartheid, and therefore in that context, it would not be considered obscene. The difference between Hicklin test and community standards test is, first, the former focuses on the susceptibility of the minds of individuals to get corrupted, while the latter hinges on the context, intended meaning, and contemporaneous socio-cultural environment of the society. This is correct. A is correct. B, as per Hicklin test, a nude picture of a woman per se can be obscene. Correct. While as per the later, the picture should be suggestive of a depraved mind and designed to excite sexual passion in the person who are likely to see it. does not look like it. Community standards test does not say things like this. The former considers obscenity as a changing concept with changing times, while the later does not. No, it's the other way around. Hicklin test is set in stone. Community standards test changes with time. Sorry. So the answer will be A. The issue of obscenity is fundamentally related with which of the following? Now here, CLAT is asking us to apply some external knowledge, and by applying that external knowledge, the answer would be freedom of speech and expression of an individual. Even if you don't have that knowledge, you would most likely be able to come to the answer that this is about freedom of speech and expression of an individual. Consider the following situations. Choose the correct option as per the Hicklin's test. As per the Hicklin's test. A movie scene where there are rows of Jewish naked men and women shown frontally being led into gas chambers of Nazi concentration camp. Not only are they about to die, but they are stripped of their basic dignity in the last moments of their life. According to the Hicklin test, if there is nudity, then it will deprave the mind of susceptible people. Therefore, it will be considered obscene. We will not look at the context in case of the Hicklin test. The controversial movie scene of Phulan Devi, the bandit queen, where she is paraded naked and made to draw water from the well within the circle of 100 men. Again, the context is irrelevant for Hicklin's test. If there is nudity, it would be obscene. So both 1 and 2 are obscene according to the Hicklin's test. Here, if they had asked what would be the answer as per the community standards test, then neither 1 nor 2 would have been obscene. An activist, while being semi-nude, allowed her body to be used as a canvas to paint on by her 2 minor children who were properly clothed. She uploaded this video of hers on an online platform with a message that she intended to normalize the female form for her children and not allow distorted ideas about sexuality to pervade their mind. An advocate who sees the video registers a case of obscenity against her. Is it a case of obscenity as per the community standards test? You look at the context. In the context, she is trying to send a positive artistic message. A positive message for children. So in that context, which community standards test will apply, in that context, it will be considered not obscene. So option A is incorrect, option B is incorrect, option D is incorrect because all of them are coming to the conclusion that this is obscene. Option C is correct. So these are the 5 questions that were linked to this passage. I hope you were able to understand the passage, the questions, and my thought process behind answering these questions. Thank you.